everyone, welcome back to our channel if you've been here before. If you are new, we are the Disney Twins UK. My name's Katie.
I'm Hayley.
And we pretty much cover all sorts of Disney things. We've been to 3 of the 6 Disney parks around the world, so we've got vlogs on our channel from our trips to various Disney parks. We've also got quite a few videos about sort of tips and tricks and hauls and that sort of thing, so if you haven't yet had a look at our other videos on our channel, please feel free after this to have a little look and watch whatever takes your fancy.
Yeah, today's video though is all about the travel restrictions, because we have booked to go to Disneyland Paris.
We are so excited.
Really excited. It's been a really long time and there are lots of restrictions in place. So what we thought we'd do is we'd let you know what we found out about the restrictions, what we've had to do to make this trip possible, and then hopefully it'll give you a bit of a heads up to the kind of things that you need to know before you go. So we found out everything we need to know to get into France, everything we need to know to get back to the UK, anything we need to know while we're there at Disneyland Paris. So hopefully this will be beneficial for you. Just bear in mind though that the restrictions and things are changing so quickly all the time. So this is up to date from today's the 7th of August. So just double check 100% what you need for when you go. This is just kind of a guide really, just in case things change. Also, this applies to us as 2 adults travelling who are fully vaccinated. So there are lots of different restrictions. If you haven't had your vaccination yet, or if you're travelling with children, it might be worth just having a really good look into what restrictions are required for your party. But this is based, as of today, as fully vaccinated adults travelling to Disneyland Paris.
So at the moment, if you are travelling to France from England, you will not need any sort of test to get into France. They used to have it, they've done away with it. Whether it comes back or not, we don't know. But as of today, we don't need a test to get into France. What we do need is to prove that we are double vaccinated, which you can do on the NHS app. And also you also need a sworn statement of honour printing out from the French government website, which basically is just to say that you haven't had any coronavirus symptoms in the last 48 hours and you also haven't been in contact with a positive case of COVID in the last 14 days. So you just print it off, fill it all in, sign it, and then once we get to the airport we have to show that we've signed it and that we've got it. So that's kind of the proof that we need once we're at the airport, isn't it?
We hope that everything will be fine with our QR codes for our certificate for our vaccinations on the NHS app, but also you can download it as a PDF. So whether you want to save that on your phone, or we've printed it out just to be extra careful, just to make sure if anything happens to our phones that we've got something in paper. So we've got it on an app, and we've also got it in paper, and then we've got our sworn statement of honour also on paper as well. So we'll show all those at the airport and hopefully they'll let us on our plane to France. So coming back to England is slightly trickier and more expensive, because you do need to have 2 tests to get back to the UK. So the first test that you need is called a pre-departure test, and it can be a PCR test or a lateral flow test, and you have to do that 3 days before your return. We have heard about companies where you can take a test with you, but then we've also heard horror stories of them not accepting it at the airport to come back to the UK. So what we thought we'd do is we'd arrange to get tested while we're at Disneyland Paris. Now luckily at Disneyland Paris in Disney Village there is a testing site there that used to be Buffalo Bills. They do PCR tests and they also do lateral flow tests, and it's really easy to book. There's a link straight from Disneyland Paris website, and you go on there, you say what test you want, and then you can book a date and a time as well. And there are lots of slots available, and I think that not quite sure about the price on that, but we'll link that down below. But you pay when you book it, so everything's sorted before you go. Obviously we've only booked it and we've not experienced it yet, but if you do want to see how we get on with that, please do follow along with our trip vlogs. We probably won't be able to film inside, but we will film as much as we can for you and give our reactions once we've been through that process. The other test that you need to do is when you get back to England. It's on day 2, well, before day 2, and it needs to be a PCR test. And we've booked a test that is delivered to our house. So we do the test at home, but there are also sites that you can go and do that test away as well. So so once you get back, you need to take that test. We'll link the company down below that we've used. We found for our area they were the cheapest. I think it was £48 each for that test. And it's really important that you book that before coming back, because you need the details of that for the next thing that you need to get back to England, which is the passenger locator form.
Yeah, so for that form, we actually did do that last year. They actually brought that in prior to our August trip last year. It's basically all done online. You just have to, and it takes up quite a while, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We did it the night before we came back, and we made sure we did it in the room, because you do need things like your passport number, your flight information, that sort of thing. And you will also, now that you need that PCR test, you will need to enter details of that test on that form as well. But it is all online, and they should have access to it remotely. So we didn't have to show anybody last year.
No.
But whether that's changed for this year, we're not too sure yet. But it's a massive fine if you don't fill that form in. So make sure you just allocate a good amount of time just before you come back, just to make sure you've got all that filled in, and we will need that to get back to England. So while we're at Disneyland Paris, there are a few things that we do need to do. Obviously, Disneyland Paris are keeping up with all of the French government's sort of restrictions and everything. And one of the restrictions that they have brought in fairly recently, now that a lot of people have been vaccinated, is the COVID health pass. So basically what that means is you have to prove that you are either fully vaccinated, that you have taken a test within the last 48 hours, or that you have recently recovered from coronavirus. So they're sort of the 3 things you have to sort of show to be able to get into Disneyland, and also to get into other places like restaurants, shops, that sort of thing. So it is quite a big thing. As far as we're aware, they are starting to recognise the NHS app now, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you can show your NHS app that shows that you've been vaccinated, but we've also downloaded an app called Anti-COVID, which is sort of the app that's being widely used in France as far as we can tell. And all we did was upload those QR codes from the NHS app up to this new app, and so that we've got that one as well. So we could probably show either one to get into places, but obviously we haven't done it yet, so we're not sure how it's going to work.
No, I think what they do is they're to scan the QR code. So you know, if they're not used to the NHS app, they might prefer the other one because that's the one that's been widely used. But again, we're not too sure. But if you follow along with our trip vlogs, we'll hopefully be able to show you that in action and find out exactly how that works. But you definitely need your health pass if you pretty much want to go anywhere at the moment in France. So another restriction in France is that the masks and social distancing are still a really big thing there. And to go to Disneyland Paris, everyone over the age of 6 now has to wear a mask. And you have to wear a mask all of the time, whether you're inside, outside, unless you are stationary and actively eating or drinking. Now, we didn't find a massive problem last year when we went, and it was really, really hot.
It was so hot last year.
If you want to, if you've not checked out those vlogs, we'll link that playlist for you down below so you can check that out. This year, hopefully, it won't be so hot. But yeah, it's just the age last year was 11 and over, so if you are travelling with children, that's now 6. So it's just worth bearing in mind that you will need masks. And you can wear masks, any face coverings you like in the parks. I'm sure they've got what you can use as a face covering on Disneyland Paris's website. But to travel to France, in the airport and on the plane, it is required that you wear a surgical mask, which we did last year as well. It's so much easier to travel in a disposable mask, and then, you know, you can just keep like disposing of them and getting a fresh one out, especially if you're coming into contact with more people in different situations. So we've got those surgical masks ready for our travelling, and then we can wear our own ones when we get into the park.
So one last thing that we needed to do before we go to Disneyland Paris is to make sure that we have booked our park pass reservations for Disneyland. So they brought in this system just to make sure that they are abiding with the capacity limits and everything that have been set because of COVID. And basically, as annual pass holders, we are allowed to book 3 park passes at a time.
Yeah.
So all we did was we went onto the Disneyland Paris website, or you can also do it on the app as well, and it will show you what the availability is for your type of pass. So for annual pass holders, there's a separate calendar. You also need to do this if you've got a non-dated ticket as well, so there's a separate calendar for that. Then all you do is you click on it and you basically just reserve your park day as long as it's green and they've got availability. So like I said, we could only book 3. That's a new thing that they've just brought in this year. Last year we could book as many as we wanted.
Yeah.
This year we can only have 3 at a time. So basically if we were staying for longer, we can just hope there's another one left after we've used one, so that we always have 3. Basically it's just linked to your annual pass, so that what they'll do is they'll just scan it at the gate and they'll know that we've made a park reservation for that day. The only way around not booking park reservations is to stay in a Disney hotel. Now it doesn't really matter whether you book through Disney, if you book through a third-party site. All you'll need to show is your magic pass, so basically your room key, if you don't know what a magic pass is, and you show that with your annual pass or your ticket. You might already have a ticket on the magic pass, and basically they know you've already been counted as a Disney resort guest. So just make sure you don't go turning up to Disneyland without a park pass or without an on-site reservation, because they won't let you in. So that's everything we had to know before we go to Disneyland Paris. Hopefully it's been useful for you if you are planning a trip. Please do let us know in the comments or get in touch with us on Instagram. We'd love to know what your plans are, whether you're dashing straight off to Disneyland Paris or whether you're going to wait a little bit longer. We'd love to know what you guys are up to. And also just bear in mind that these tips and everything we've found out is based on 2 fully vaccinated adults travelling at this moment in time. So please do check what the restrictions are in place for the time you're travelling and for your party as well. We are super excited. It's been so long. We do hope that you will join us for our trip on our vlogs. The first day will be coming up next week, so please do join us for that. And if you're not already subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button, press the notification bell, and then you will know when we upload our videos. And like we said, we will hopefully have more information about how we got on with the testing and all the restrictions. Hopefully you'll be able to see that in real life. So please do stay tuned, and if you're not already following us on Instagram, please join us on there. We're going to put lots of photographs on there, and we will be saving our highlights as well, so please check it out. Thanks for watching. Have a magical day.
Your heads weighed 100, you saw fell for the first guy you